What's going on, people? Welcome back to Blues Fans TV, and we are back outside Stamford Bridge doing regular videos again.
Hey guys, for discount off of top quality football merchandise from Kitbag, please use our code and link in the description below, just for being a Blues Fans TV subscriber and an awesome Chelsea fan.
In this video, you guys already know what we're talking about. The title makes it clear and obvious for everyone. We are talking about Lukaku versus Haaland. Chelsea are on the lookout for another big money striker. We still need to spend our peas to get to wherever we want. Manchester City have only gone and got stronger from last season. Liverpool next season, we know, are going to be back to their best too. We know this season is just a massive false image. And the one thing that we need right now is we need a clinical striker. We need a striker that's going to bag us 20, 25 goals a season. Because we do make the chances. Granted, we haven't made as much under Thomas Tuchel as we have compared to Frank Lampard, but that's because of the style of play that we're playing and the system that we play too. If we're playing 5 at the back and we only have 3 attacking positions, we are going to create less chances as a result of that. But we do need to take a look out towards next season, and the first thing that we need is we need someone who's going to take these chances and they're going to put into the back of the net. And there's 2 strikers that we've earmarked already. Erling Haaland, who, unless you've all been living under a rock, you know the impact that he's had on football over the last 18 months. And Romelu Lukaku, who's completely turned a corner since joining Antonio Conte at AC Milan. I know it hurts because we really want him in 2017 too, but the story isn't over, and it looks like Romelu Lukaku could potentially be coming back to the bridge as well. First player I want to talk to you about, Erling Haaland, and everyone's been speaking the most about him. And to be honest, in the Bundesliga, he has been worth the hype for himself. I'm not even going to try and speak ill on his name like that. But do you feel like he could translate that into the Premier League?
It's a tough one. Obviously, we've seen big money signings come from Bundesliga and not really succeed in the Premier League. Obviously, we're going to talk about Timo Werner, but it's a tough one with Erling Haaland because when you look at his stats, obviously the Bundesliga is very, very different to the Premier League in terms of how competitive it is. But when you look at his stats in the Champions League, that's when you really can tell a player. So obviously, I wouldn't turn my nose up at bringing in someone like Erling Haaland, but it's an unknown again. We haven't got enough data on him. We haven't seen enough tape on the Erling Haaland to know he's definitely going to succeed at Stamford Bridge. So it's a tough one with Erling Haaland. I wouldn't turn my nose up at it, but there's a lot of questions to be asked as well.
That's the thing, and I'm glad you said questions too. Me as well, I completely echo those words. I wouldn't turn my nose at an Erling Haaland, but he's worth apparently 180 million euros, 153 million pounds. And for me, after all the money that we've spent over the last year, if we spend another 150 million on a solitary player, that player has to guarantee us the league title that season. For me, Erling Haaland is 20, 21 years old, and he's banging it in the Bundesliga. But the Bundesliga is a completely different league to the Premier League. You get so much more space in that league compared to the Premier League. And I think the translation of him as he tries to assimilate to Premier League football, I don't think he's going to fail here. And I think he's got the build, the strength, the aggression in his game, that he could be an amazing centre-forward in time, but he isn't there yet. And that's why I think the problem is, because the English media are going to be on his neck from day one. 150 million on a striker after we already spent 48 million on a Timo Werner. That's nearly 200 million on 2 players who are meant to bag us 20 goals a season. Erling Haaland has to bag immediately if he does that. And I'm just not sure if he does that. I think he adapts to the Premier League well in time. Give him 2-3 years in the Premier League, you're going to have one of the best strikers in the world. And I think his link-up play will have improved levels by then. I just don't think Chelsea have the patience for that. And there's a board, there's a fan base now, because we've already spent over 200 million just to try and make us title contenders. We aren't even title contenders right now. Granted, that's because of Lampard tax and everything like that, and I take that into account. But that's why next season, we're going to be a lot more impatient about it. Erling Haaland's going to come in for 150 million and he has to bang goals immediately. And I'm just not sure if he does that.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. The thing is, with Chelsea fans, we've been scarred by big money strikers coming in and not performing, whether you look at Shevchenko, whether you look at Morata. We lack patience now. We kind of want someone to come in and make an immediate impact, especially with the rest of the squad that we've got. We want someone to come in and score the goals that helps us or helps propel us to win the league. So if Erling Haaland, like you say, he has to score goals straight away, and we won't give him time to embed. So somebody like that coming into Chelsea, obviously we've seen what he can do in various competitions, but like you say, he's very, very young. So there's a massive question mark over Erling Haaland in terms of coming over to succeed in the Premier League. But again, I would not turn my nose up at it because we've seen what he can do. We've seen his presence, we've seen his physicality, and I always hark back to previous Chelsea strikers that have succeeded. When you look at Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, when you look at Diego Costa, when you look at Didier Drogba, our greatest ever striker, those are strikers that share similar traits with Erling Haaland. So I don't doubt that he'll come here and score goals. But again, we've been scarred by strikers in the past, so he's going to have to come and bang straight away. That's the only problem. That's
the thing. For me, with Erling Haaland, I could easily see him come here and get a 15, 20 goal season striker. I think first season, easy. He could get that. But I think fans are still going to ask more. If it's 153 million and he only bags you 20 goals a season, people are still going to look down on that and they're going to say, you spend 150 million for just another 20 goals. Yeah. And that's what the problem is for me. That's why when you look at our other option, Romelu Lukaku, he's got the experience for me. His link-up play is improved, his hold-up play is next level. His finishing, especially against the top teams as well, he turns up against the big sides now. And against Manchester United, that was one of the biggest question marks on him, that he was just a flat-track bully. Always scored against the smaller sides, but not the big teams. But even with that in mind, if he's able to score against the smaller teams, that tells me he can deal with low blocks in the Premier League as well, because we know half the teams in the Premier League only deal with low blocks. The only problem for me with a Romelu Lukaku is his age. And we've seen with players like Wayne Rooney, for example, Cesc Fabregas, for example, when they play games regularly from a young age, they seem to decline at an earlier age too. And I'd be worried about that with a Lukaku, but then you look at his build, you look at his style of play too, and I think he could easily translate that to become more of a centre forward. His link-up play has improved well enough already. So I think even if he aged at an earlier rate, I think he'd age like a fine wine. You'd see him as a bit more like an Olivier Giroud. Yeah, you literally stole my line there. I was going to say, like, strikers these days are aging like fine wine. If you look at the best strikers in the world, you look at Lewandowski, you look at Zlatan Ibrahimovic, you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, strikers' primes are extending at the moment. It look like 34, 35 isn't necessarily what it was 4 or 5 years ago. So Lukaku, what? He's 27, 28 now? I think he's still got another 6, 7 years of prime football to play. And if you look at his build, he's primed for the Premier League. He's somebody that can hold the ball up. Like you say, in the low block, he's great against the low block. He can also play out wide as well. I think people pigeonhole Lukaku in terms of he's this like flat track bully, he's big, he's bulky, but look at him at Inter Milan. He plays out wide as well. He delivers the ball into the box well. He can do a lot. His hold-up play is obviously fantastic. And then we've got those players who can dovetail off of him in terms of those nippy players like Pulisic or Werner. I think it would be absolutely ideal at Chelsea. And to me, obviously we had him when he was a kid. Lukaku is a prime Chelsea striker. That's the thing for me as well. This is where it gets a bit nostalgic, but we know Romelu Lukaku's dreamed of playing for Chelsea since he was young. Yeah, you had a little taste of that in 2012, but he didn't like that. He even said he didn't want the Champions League medal from that year because he didn't feel like he earned it. So with that in mind, there's a bit of unfinished business there too. That's why I low-key pushed a bit more towards Romelu Lukaku because he's cheaper, he comes with more experience, he's Premier League proven. And even if he ages, like, he ain't really going to age at a bad rate. And that means, yeah, if we do miss out on Haaland, I get it. But I also feel like, low-key, with the way that we're playing right now, I need to see players take more chances too. Yeah. Because we don't create as many chances. And with Haaland, you have to make the chances for him. Especially in his first few seasons in the Premier League for me. You are going to have to put the chance on a plate for him. And that's where I think the struggle is going to be. That's why nothing against Haaland, and he's going exactly to the top. Like, no one is even here disputing that. I haven't seen him take a downturn yet. It's been a clear upward trajectory from Salzburg to Borussia Dortmund. Wherever he goes next, there'll probably be another push for him too. If he came here, he'd take his first downturn. And then there's a bit more questions about him, which is why I'd rather go for the safe bet. We have so many young players in our squad right now. We have a very, very young squad. And Haaland could easily be the centrepiece of that, and I understand that. But with a team that young, you need experience. And that's why I think now for the players that we need to get experienced players. So for me, I'd go for Lukaku. See, like, you're making a compelling argument there. And obviously about 2 weeks ago, I would have said Haaland for sure. But when you look at it, like you say, there's always like a plateau of players. Like I say, Haaland at Salzburg, amazing. Haaland at Dortmund, amazing. And it's only gone like that. But naturally, with any players in the world, they do go through a natural plateau. And Lukaku had that when he went to Manchester United. Although the stats were there in terms of he was contributing to goals, he wasn't the Lukaku that everybody had hoped when he left Everton. And like, I feel like he's so seasoned, he's done it in different leagues, he's been around the block, he knows what he's doing. I think Lukaku right now is primed to go and kill it at a team that's playing in the Champions League year in, year out. And that's the thing with Lukaku as well.
as good as he's been, as many goals as he's bagged already, he hasn't actually played that many seasons in the Champions League. So for him, it's the right time to kind of make the moves to a team that's going to be Champions League football week in, week out. And I feel like Lukaku back at Stamford Bridge would be a perfect match.
Damn right. Well, Kwaku, thank you for jumping on anyway. Guys, I do hope you lot have enjoyed this discussion video. I know there's going to be a lot of questions now. If you guys have any other strikers that you think we should be looking at that we haven't already mentioned, let us know down in the comment section below. And let us know your thoughts as well. Romelu Lukaku or Erling Haaland? Which one would you prefer to see in a Chelsea shirt? Let us know down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Blues Fans TV if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care and up the Chelsea.